I worked as an intern for Eclipse Comics in 1991, which helped land me a gig as a assistant editor at Dark Horse in the early 1990s, 92, 94, I believe it was. I handled the submissions slush file for both. That was a very interesting experience. You had to learn to be cruel and precise and clear. I've often thought about writing a book or some articles about the whole submissions process. There's some crazy things that happen, but most of these are actual people with actual lives and actual feelings. So you have to be careful, really careful about that. When somebody sends in what they really deeply believe is their outpouring from their heart. So you got to be, you got to really just lay it on the line and say, this works, this doesn't, thank you, here's your self-addressed stamped envelope, goodbye. And maybe 1% of them would get picked. That was usually like a side gig in addition to the actual work of editing and getting comics out in whatever way possible. I met some amazing people at both jobs. You know who you are. Too many to name and give shout outs. It would be a shout out of like 5 minutes. I was editing comics during the day and getting small press goodies in the mail when I would come home to my little apartment. I was living at a nunnery in Portland at first, before I managed to get an apartment in the it was northwest Portland. So I was reading comics, doing manga during the day, which with Torrin Smith and Studio Proteus, sadly departed now, but an amazing character, really self-motivated, really just a vibrant personality, and we're all the poorer for his not being around. He taught me a lot about manga in general. So this was manga before manga was cool. And I really felt privileged to be exploring this fascinating world and seeing some things about the language, the storytelling of manga, that really helped to highlight the contrast between Western and Eastern storytelling. So I'd come home in the evening and kind of digest what I'd done and read books like Jenny Zervakis' Strange Growths, John Porcelino's King Cat, A-Girl, Julie Doucet, anthologies. So I was, and the other people at work were conscious of these things too, but at the time the Xeric grants were just coming in. And so we saw the company balloon in size, and then the entire industry took a hit with the speculation frenzy of 1994. Imagine, if you will, selling junk bonds to 14-year-olds, which is pretty much what they were doing with these laminated foil first edition covers. So I really have a degree of antipathy towards Image Comics and what they did, because the knock-on effects really hit the entire industry, and including me. I was out of a gig in 1994, and for me, I just thought, okay, it's time to go to graduate school. I've done what I can. I need a change. To give you an example of this kind of thinking I was having at the time, at one point I was wearing a suit and a tie. I was repping the brand at WonderCon, and opposite us was a living room The collective Puppy Toss from Berkeley had gotten furniture from, looked like an old Goodwill store. Maybe it was their own furniture. But they'd set up a little reading room with racks of comics, their own, lots of goodies, across the aisle from us. I thought, you know, that looks pretty nice. Wouldn't mind being on that in that space. And little did I know that in less than 2 years, I would be in that space.